Let's fight. Welcome in the ring to each and every one of you. Let's fight, folks. How are you guys doing out there? Good to have each and every one of you here. Share that live and smash that emoji button. Pace and power, folks. Pace and power. How are you guys doing? I see Mark, I see Renrick, Daly, Gavin Jacobs, Karen Clark. Good to have you, Dolly Anderson, Roxanne Junas. Good to have you, Debbie Collins and Siobhan McDonald. Kyle Bino is here as well. Good to have you, Ivor Miller. Ivor, how are you doing? Respect and manners to Ivor. June Griffith, good to see you too. Asha, good to see Asha. Good to see, I see Edward is here too. Edward Brooms. Good to see Mr. Griffith is here too. Julian Mars is here too. Abida Monroe, folks. Welcome in the ring. We are happy. We are happy. We are happy. You remember Mocha? How many of you remember Mocha? You remember Mahdia? How many of you remember Mahdia, folks? Well, that's going to be our discussion night. And the teachers as well, not letting up our teachers, not leaving out our teachers. We're going to talk about them too. Malcolm Mahdia, the teachers and the PPP. Roxanne Odessa, Michaela Andrews, Leon Blair. Good to have all of you on the live. Anthony Jarvis. Great to have you too. 300 of you. We're a minute and a half into the program. 420 of you joining our broadcast. Good to have each and every one of you there. Grace, how are you doing? We're fired up, folks, and we're ready to go. We are fired up and ready to... Why am I so off? Why am I so off? Folks, look at the magic. Social media broadcasting. I could shift myself. Good to have you. Stacey Ann, Wilton Blue, Wayne and Andrew, Shellon, Camille Cox is here. Camille, things hitting up, girl. Oh, no. Things heating up. But good to have each and every one of you folks. We're fired up and we're ready to go. You remember Mocha? You want to see wickedness? Brace it over. You remember how they said people went in the road? All of you remember that? They said our beautiful folks from Mocha were in the way of the road. And that is part of why they had to move them. All you remember that? Let me see if I can bring it up. Let me see if I have that. We had done a pictorial about what was happening in Mocha. And the folks said even though we had the visual imagery to say that it wasn't so, that Mocha was in the way of the road was wickedness. And I swear to God, you'll never see anything like this. You live 3 lifetimes. There's hypocrisy, wickedness on the part of the PPP. Are you ready for see story? Share the live, good folks. Smash that. Here. I can show you wickedness tonight. Real wickedness on the part of the PPP. Wicked for so. Are you ready to see some wickedness? Huh? You ready to see some real wickedness? Huh? You ready? All right. Let me refresh your memory. The opener, folks. If you're not broadcast, you know where we're going from here. The opener. And I want to start by talking a little bit about Mocha. All you remember Mocha? Cane View Mocha? How they broke down those people's houses, bury the businesses, bury the pigs, bury the dogs. You remember this government? All you remember success? How they tear gas those people? Who shared the damn life tonight? Trench crappos? Who shared their life tonight? I remember them. I remember still. And I always will. Time cannot erase. Dave Martin says, the wickedness of the PPP could never erase it. Or remember Mocha? Who remember Mocha? Put up your hand. When they said the people's house went in the road and they were moving them for the road. Folks, in this graphic you see, in this graphic thou seest, this is what we're telling you. Can view that community there where people were living in Mocha. Had them been nowhere close to the road, Emily. Brenda, Everett, it went nowhere close to the road. But that's what they said to move the people. And we said to you, those were prime lands and jelly. Didn't we say that? My God. King Sion, Lester, Andrew, didn't we say that? Cecil Stoll, Elizabeth Williams. Oh, yes. Irvin Dunn says, I remember still, and I always will, like it was yesterday. Isabella Butters, Nicole Field. All you remember that? Well, folks, I went back to Mocha today, and there's a portion of that area that was Cane View. Friends, family, and favorites, they have no shame. The PPP have no shame. So we there. You think them boys easy? This is Mocha. That is the road, they said. And those houses were going to be in the way of the road. But look, story. Hold on. Look, story now. This road you see approaching here. This is the main road into Mocha. Left of your screen. We'll be heading into Mocha. You see wickedness? Look what is coming up in front of your eyes. Who's sharing the damn life, man? Huh? Friends, family, and favorites get land. Just as you jump the trench there. Somebody get a piece. You see that? Somebody get a piece. I said, Duncan, you're going blind. Wipe your eyes. Wipe the camera. Look, story here now. Somebody get another portion here. That fencing as we speak it. Man, somebody share the life there, man. You see this? The people houses were right in this area. Just like where they're putting these things now. They said the people houses was going to be on the road. It was going to be blocked by the road. And in the graphic, we showed you, this is the people building a fence. Somebody can land there. Friends, family, and favorites. I ain't sharing the life, man. You ever see anything like this in your life? Huh? You ever see anything like this? Thanks to all the people who contributed to our drone project. Thanks to all the folks who contributed to the drone project. Them boys gone with the land. Gone with the land. They miss have to take piece down the road, you know. It's like they want to throw it to your face. They give them almost on the corner. And the people at Cane View Mocha, they said they were going to be in the way of the road. Look how close this thing to the road. Look how close that structure is to the road. It's different strokes to different folks. Folks, you ever see anything like this in your life? Huh? Yeah, you ever see anything like this in your life? Huh? Just across the side, the people had their houses. They said the houses was going to be in the road. And look at people in the land here. Huh? Spurrily, you see what happened in here? Altia Benjamin, Tommy Gibbs, Shalon Margaret, Rastaman, Leon Logan. Soon as you leave this property here, the next car is the Mocha Road going in. Look, you see, that's the Mocha Road there. That's the Mocha Road, and that's the property watch here there. Look at them boys building the fence there. Stacey and Stone is like the one that's it in your face. Na. Look what we do to y'all. It's like the one picture to your chest, Raquel Gentle. Wendell Saul, Mark, Fidel Albert, Bishop BT Chess. He says he wrote out. I ain't like progress. He said, oh, people. All you don't like y'all don't like progress. Y'all don't like development. You anti-development. And up they sell out the land. Friends, family, and favorites. Junior Henry, Roxanne Garraway, Akim Farrell, friends, family, and favorites. That's the opener. That's what it's about. All this and those lands where they had houses. All the greenery you're seeing before you there. They mash up the houses in Mocha. Mash it up. Valid, credible information. Dan Abrams said the barefaced liars. Barefaced liars, Jylin Cook. Marcia said avaricious people. Brendan said, what a shame. King Sion said, God don't sleep. True story. Shame on the PPP, says Karen Giddens. Wicked for so. Wicked. Folks, smash that emoji button for us. Smash that emoji button for we. Good folks. Smash that emoji button for us. That's the opener. That's the opener. You see wickedness? Hey, the people got them in court. Some people take buyout. Some people sell out. Not everybody's for the struggle, you know. Not everybody for the struggle. And thankfully, some people hold out. Some people hold out. So let's see how it goes, folks. Let's see how it goes. Some folks hold out. Got them in court. Said the people didn't like development. They didn't like progress. Now they're selling out the land. My God. My God. My God. That's the opener. When the 592, that was the opener. Y'all the ones who come in the 592 is trouble. It's pressure. Pressure like a cooker. Pressure. Shame on the PPP. Shame on the PPP. Jagabats. French crapos. Cricketers. Wickedness. Hope Nicole Terry watching. American ambassador. Hope Jane Miller watching. And Mark Borman. Jane Miller, of course, is the British High Commissioner, Her Excellency. Mark Borman, His Excellency. Hope he's watching. You see wickedness? Wickedness can done, folks. Can done. Can finish. Too much wickedness. You know, you understand why the father, had the flood? Had to start over? God forbid. Time like that should happen again. Some of these people got to deal with. We got to start over. Isn't everybody for the promised land? I'm telling you straight. It's not everybody for the promised land. And I don't want Father Gabby marching, wrong marching. It's a pack of wickedness, you know. Wickedness in high places, too. And then I see church people now putting on malas and these demons and devils. Putting on malas and these demons and devils. I hope y'all share the life. There's a lot of wickedness. Like I can't get over this thing yet. It's a lot of wickedness in this place, you know. A lot of them into a lot of nasty work. A lot of over your business. When you put them in over in the same sentence, it's to give over a bad name. A lot of dirty business. That's what I really mean to say. Involved in a lot of nastiness. You could tell me, you could do these things to people. You sell your soul to the devil? You ain't sell your soul to the devil yet? That's what you're trying to tell me? Folks, that's wickedness. Just yesterday, they're telling these beautiful folks at Mocha, oh, they're against development. Oh, they don't like this. Oh, they don't like that. And those people go and sell the land. Friends, family, and favorites. What is one man's block in progress? Oh, it's another man, a business venture, apparently. It's another man business venture. You won't see something like this in 2 lifetimes. Wicked. It's not a way to describe that, folks. That's wicked. Wickedness. Wicked with a capital wick. Wickedness. Friends, family, and who got money, got bargain. Who got money, got bargain? Somebody's house was there. Somebody's farm, rearing cattle. And so the people in the way the road. They said the people in the way of the road. Echo wickedness. That's what it is. Wickedness. Once we come in the 592, Alibaba and the 40 thieves, the 7 plagues, they got on us. Once we come in the 592, let's touch on a couple of things quickly, folks. As you all know, first anniversary, 20 souls have perished. Not Mahdia Blaze. Nobody else culpable yet, you know. As a matter of fact, the Minister of Education never even sit down by the inquiry. Much more to be questioned about her involvement, wickedness. They run up today. They roll out on Edge and Susan and Hamilton, the Stooges. We're going really, they don't forget them children. Is a minister still attached to every child? Is a minister still attached to every family? How is that going for we? Wickedness. Yeah, a lot of people say it's half of them children. A lot of folks say it's dirty business. It's half of them children. Take a look, folks. Take a listen.
The fire that destroyed the dormitory at Mahdia, killing 20 children, occurred 1 year ago today. Retired Assistant Police Commissioner Paul Slow said on his podcast that not much has happened since.
They give the parents, they said they're compensating them $5 million for those who get killed. $5 million for life of a teenager killed in the care of the government. And then they add this whitewash commission of inquiry, where one of the lawyers who represented the relatives of the deceased person during the negotiation, if you can call it that, to pay them this $5 million compensation. He was a lawyer on the Commission of Inquiry. He was a lawyer for the Commission of Inquiry.
Still recall that the education minister who had commissioned the report into the condition of the dorm did nothing.
They blamed the fire chief. They said the fire chief, having gotten the report, he should have ensured that they had fire extinguishers, and he should have ensured a big whitewash cover up. Big whitewash and cover up. They don't know his conflict of interest. They don't know his conflict of interest. So let's wait, and we would remind you that one of the students in that dormitory, who is alleged to have started the fire that killed the 20 students, she is charged on 20 counts, I think, for murder.
Then the chairman of the commission, Major General Joseph Singh, made an interesting statement.
Joe Singh made a statement to say that even if they had firefighting equipment and other stuff there, the results would have been the same. Joe Singh said so.
Slow said that the government doesn't want to remind the nation of this episode.
Among things that they did was even a couple of days after they had an event at the Yumana Yana, the Benab, by Pegasus. And one of the students who survived the ordeal was dragged before the media at this function. You could see the girl traumatized.
Then there was a contamination in the crime scene. Hours after the fire, Prime Minister Brigadier Mark Phillips and the Education Minister were standing in the debris.
Shortly after, they were taking the debris from the fire and filling holes along the street with it. And people had to make comment, they show bones and so on of those deceased persons would have been in that debris. They were filling holes in Mahdia.
Retired Assistant Police Commissioner Clinton Conway also asked about the trial.
And what happened to the trial? I don't know if anybody testified so far. 1 year passed after the charge, and it's still there pending.
Yep, it's on for the cheering up. The thing asking for blood. That's what that is. On for the cheering up. Don't let me scratch wrong it. That's how they hope to hold on to power. They will do anything to hold on to power. You better be careful out there. 1 year after, they should have built such an edifice, such a monument, such a memorial to those kids on that sacred ground there where the dormitory is in Mahdia. 1 year later, out of sight, out of mind. Wicked PPP. You here finale, you Barjag, you wicked. Wicked. We gotta get a handle on fire in this country. Is this fire week? Y'all better look out by y'all. 54 persons, it said, perished in fire in this country in the last 17 months. Y'all think that's easy? 54 persons. We should be ashamed as a country. Huh? We should be ashamed as a country. Look at about 63 we in this country. They had but 63 of us. 54 perished in fire. 2.5 in accidents on the roads. People say since them boys come this cross, this country cross. We gotta move beyond just honoring victims of fire. We gotta do the invasive work, the preventative work. But them boys ain't got time with that. Them boys ain't got time with it. You know, Ali said he doing this big thing about road safety and big intervention and national conversation and all that. What happened to that? What has ever happened to that? Please and thank you. What's ever happened to that? Pack of jokers. Not even fit to run a corner shop. Not even fit to run a corner shop. 20 lives lost. Just to chase them out the village when they see them. Chase them out, Mahdia. Not fit for a corner shop. Now they're telling us 54 perish in fire. This little 2x4 country. This little 2x4 country. You throw down a little rag, wall carpet, in this little 2x4 country. A little hand rag. I see the US embassy meeting with them, talking about enhancing security measures, online and otherwise. I think they're sizing some of them up for some orange jumpsuits. That's what I really think. They're telling us that the Commissioner of Police, Mr. Hickens, doing a lot of wrong. His team met with the US Embassy officials and enhancing its security measures. This happened at the Commissioner's Conference Room at Ivlery, and it was facilitated by the Bureau of International Narcotics and Law Enforcement, the INL, in collaboration with the Regional Security Office. This, of course, is the US, the Regional Security Office for the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation. And they're coordinating this project with the Ghana Police Force to improve their integrated, automated, and fingerprint identification system. Oh, they need some help there. Too many things is go missing. And they said this is part of establishing a biometric record exchange program between the FBI and the GPF, the FBI, the Ghana Police Force and the FBI, my God. You know? I hope they use the knowledge gained to actually solve crime. This is what they're supposed to do. Right? So this experience is going to enable the two sides to benefit. And especially Ghana is going to benefit from the FBI database on their criminal and counterterrorism investigation records. Hope they're taking the learning. Thank you, FBI. Thank you, US Embassy. Her Excellency Nicole Terrio. Thank you, folks. Taking the little learning. Drill, baby, drill. That's what they're telling us. Drill, baby, drill. Of course, they want to pump out everything. We pump in, but we're feeling it. How your pocket looking? How it looking? Exxon telling us they have plans to praise 2 well sites in the Haimara gas field off Guyana. You know, previous drilling in this area, Haimara, is not a fish. It's not a really nice fish from the hinterland. 2 drilling exercises in this area have proven unsuccessful thus far. But good again. Drill, baby, drill. How things looking by you? How it looking? Huh? How we looking? Police here. We right back there again. Police here. Government telling us that they're going to be distributing Spanish dictionaries and textbooks to students, I think from September. Primary school children in particular. Police here. Yep. We know we able. One of the areas we always do poorly in is English language. Some of us could barely string a sentence together with a subject and a verb. we go into Spanish full force. Police here. I didn't say we shouldn't learn a second language. It's a beautiful thing, as a matter of fact. But could we just get a couple things before us correct for us? Could we get a couple things right? Is this what we're doing with all the Cubans they're bringing inside? This is what they're doing? Police here! They're sharing Spanish textbooks. And as I'm on the Ministry of Education and Pierre Manning Chan in particular, folks today caught up with the General Secretary of the Ghana Teachers Union to see what's been happening with those conciliation talks. We're in the middle of a nationwide strike by the teachers. And even though they're not on the streets every day, as they were about a month ago, they're still doing a lot of activities together. It's like striking a different format, folks. The PPP thought they would tire out the teachers on the streets. Oh, they say after 2 weeks on the streets, man, they get tired. But the teachers one up them. We caught up, as I said, with Coretta MacDonald, General Secretary of the Ghana Teachers Union, and my parliamentary colleague, to know what's been happening with these conciliation talks. Coretta, what's been happening? Take a look, folks, at our exchange.
The latest, as of yesterday, is that we are right where we started. And I'm going to put it in this way: the husband and the wife, they couldn't agree. They got the mother-in-law involved. Mother-in-law came, mother-in-law or father-in-law, whichever one you want to put it. They have opted to take a position, and the parties are right where they started. Just the same thing, stalemate again. So I am not sure where the chief labor officer who intervened then, I'm not sure what he's going to do at this point, but I'm sure he's going to prepare a report, and I'm looking forward to seeing that report if there's going to be such a report. Let me say, Cheryl, the thing is, in our minds, the government of this day, they are not interested in the welfare of our children. They are not interested in their education. They just don't care about them. And that's simply because their children are attending private schools. That's one. And two, the other secondary schools that their children are attending are the quote unquote senior secondary schools, and at those schools, the teachers are being flooded with almost everything that they need. And because of that fact, and of course, fear and intimidation is playing a part there, the teachers, many of them are not on strike. They are attending school. So their children, again, they're benefiting. But the ordinary man's child or the ordinary man's children cannot benefit because they don't have those kinds of luxuries that the ministers, the chief labor officer, the PSs, and all of them are having to send their children to private schools and to some of those senior secondary schools.
Just remind the members of the public, if you can, what are some of the sticking points that is creating this impasse between the ministry and the teachers union?
Let me say that the GTU, in good faith, we submitted, and that's the word that has been used. In good faith, we submitted our proposal in 2020. We were hoping that after our talks with the Minister of Education in August of 2020, late August of 2020, that by September, October, we would have been able to arrive at a position. those meetings were just meetings. We're going to have a meeting. We're going to have a meeting, and that was just about it. We never had a meeting to sit to look at the proposal. All that was happening is that we were resending and resending, and we were writing everywhere else, asking that somebody consider our proposal, that somebody talk to their colleagues so that they can start looking at our proposal. Nothing really happened. And so that led us to where we were on February 5th when we took industrial action. Leading up, coming out of that industrial action, we had the court match and all of that. What persons need to know is the kind of wickedness that is being manifested by this government. And I just can't say it in any other way. You have decided to turn your backs on the teachers. The teachers union, which is the legally representative body for the teachers, acted in good faith by writing from His Excellency right down. We got no positive responses from them. When the teachers union decided that we were going to take industrial action, it was then that we started getting some responses. As a matter of fact, the GTU wrote the Minister of Labor. We copied our letter to the Minister of Labor. We wrote to the Chief Labor Officer, indicating to him that there was a stalemate between the GTU and the Ministry of Education and that nothing was happening. The Chief Labor Officer did not respond to us. You know when he responded to us? This year, in February of this year, or late January of this year, is when he responded to us. When we notified him that we were going to have industrial action, then is when we got a response from him. Rather than him saying to us, look, GTU, I'm going to call you and the other party in. He did not do that. As a matter of fact, I have the letters here, which will show, and you're going to get a copy of that, which will show we wrote the Chief Labor Officer. He did not respond to us. But in a matter of hours after he was written to, just about 2 weeks ago, by the Ministry of Education, we got an invitation on Sunday of last week to attend a meeting on Monday morning because the ministry wrote saying there is a stalemate and they want him to intervene. So this is clearly saying to us, and like I initiated earlier, the husband and the wife and the mother-in-law, father-in-law issue, this is saying clearly to us that the father-in-law in this instance took the position of either the son or the daughter, whichever one we want to call the Ministry of Education. Because when we wrote, you did not call us to a meeting. But in a matter of hours, you called us to a meeting when the Ministry of Education sent you their letter. We went there again, and I'm going to continue to use the phrase good faith, because that's the word they're using. GTU needs to act in good faith. But the ministry doesn't want to act in good faith. And the Ministry of Labor is not seeing that on the part of the Ministry of Education. But let me go further to say, we sat there at that meeting, even though the invitation was granted, was sent to us on a Sunday. Our interest is to resolve this issue and to have our teachers where they ought to be in their classrooms with their charges. So we turned up for that meeting on Monday morning at 10, was it 10:30, 9:30? I think that meeting was on Monday morning. We turned up there. We felt that sitting there and having in our mind somebody who's neutral, that we were going to be able to resolve this matter. We couldn't resolve it on that day. We met again. We could not resolve the issue. The ministry was saying they are prepared to work from 2024 onwards. Mm-hmm. The GTU is saying we submitted a proposal to you that stated 2019, 2023. That was the document that was admitted in court as an exhibit. So we cannot be talking now about 2024. But even if you want us to talk about 2024, we have submitted a proposal to you. You should be submitting to us now a counter proposal, and we'll start the talks from there. The ministry is not prepared to submit to us a counter proposal simply because they have nothing to give to teachers. If the ministry was serious about this, they would submit a counter to us. And this is the basic logics. You're coming to the table, I am going to tell you what I have to offer. You tell me what you want. I tell you what I have to offer. And we bargain from there. But the ministry, they have nothing. And they're being very, very deceptive to this nation. Because if the president was interested in the welfare of teachers, just the same way he went out there in a matter of hours to meet with the fisher folks, he would have met with the teachers union. But he's not interested in that. This government is about being divisive. So they understand what it means to call 100 teachers who are not even executive members of the union. They prefer to call them to come and give them some food. You invite them to brunch, as if teachers are quote unquote hungry bellies. They don't eat, so you're inviting them to brunch. And that's all there is to it. Then you invited them to a meeting before where you tell them, and I'm still so perturbed about this one, where we had the young man who has responsibility for finance, the labor minister, the minister of education, and all of them sitting down there and having teachers saying, we prefer to have increased allowances, as if allowances can make any difference on your pension and your gratuity. And this is absolute madness, one, and two, wickedness on the part of the government, because they know you can give them the world of allowances, but it will make no difference on their salaries when it comes to the computation of their pension and gratuity. Nothing it will change. So if your salary is at $5 and they give you $5 million in allowances, that is $5 million. When you cease to be a teacher, your gratuity will be computed on the $5 you were receiving all the time. And I just can't understand how people who profess to care can sit there and allow those kinds of things, to those kinds of words to be uttered. And then they sit and they clap as if to say, yes, look at them, we're mocking them. I'm hoping that teachers are taking note of all of these things, because this government see us as floor mats. And we're not floor mats, and we will let them understand we will not be used at their convenience. And so that's where we are at this point. Yesterday, as a matter of fact, on Friday, after we kept going back and forth, and I can say to you, every single option that the GTU would have placed out there on the table, the ministry has rejected it. Every single option. We went so far to say to the Ministry of Education, look, we can alter our proposal. We can alter it. Because they've been lamenting about 2019 and they weren't in government in 2019, failing to recognize, and there again, wickedness, failing to recognize that your government of the day, the GTU, did not sign an agreement with a political party. We signed an agreement with the government of Guyana. So don't tell us that you weren't in government, because I can say again, in 2016 and 2017, when our teachers received lump sum cash coming out of the debunching issue, they weren't in government when that agreement was signed. And that agreement was leading up from the agreement signed since 2006 all the way up under the PPP. But you know what? The administration then took it upon themselves, because they are government of the day, to ensure that teachers were paid their debunching monies. That very administration ensured that 300 teachers got access to their duty-free concessions, which the previous administration, which was the PPP, failed to give to them. And that administration, the APNU, AFC, they could have said then too, we were not in government then. But it just goes to show you the level of maturity and the level of pettiness. And that's what we are faced with the PPP. They are very petty. Now, Friday, after we couldn't agree on several issues or several options thrown out there, mind you, we agreed, one, there shall be no victimization, no transfers, no nobody being removed from their positions, and something else. Four issues we agreed on that. So we agreed on those four. But the real issue was the time frame within which we were going to talk. Now, we cannot start talking about something that is not there. How can we talk about 2024 when there's nothing for 2024? You have decided that you're not going to address our proposal for 2019, 2023, which was no fault of ours. You decided to close the door on us all those years. So you're telling us now to forget that. But look at the difference. In 2023, my colleagues right next door to us, Gao, they were able to sign 20 collective bargaining agreements in 2023. And the GTU has been there from since 2020 knocking at the door. And not up to today, we can't sign one. So you understand the level of
Correct.
animal farm business that we have going on in this country with the PPP government. And that's all they believe in. Being decisive or divisive, putting one against the other, and that's how they intend to rule, by dividing and rule, by divide and rule.
So, is the union concerned about the government not negotiating in good faith? A lot of commentary we see out of the Attorney General, for instance, the Finance Minister, even the President, about where they stand on increases for teachers, yet we're in a conciliatory process. Are you concerned that
Nothing.
they're not negotiating in good faith? I saw the judge had some very harsh words, even concerning the labor officer. The judge had some very strong words for the president, the executive, trying to undermine with all of this.
Yep.
You pull aside a few, you talk to them as against negotiating with the union proper. I noticed also they were making much fuss about not having the written judgment. They now have it in their possession.
Yes.
Are you concerned that the government really and truly, they're just ticking off a box? We heard some commentators say that, to say, we have met, we have discussed, we can't agree.
Well, the thing is, the Ministry of Education, they were expecting to agitate and aggravate and to provoke the GTU into walking out of meetings. That is what they expected us to do. But we showed them that we are the reasons for our teachers performing the way they are performing. We're matured, we're sensible. And that is why we have decided that we will sit at the table and we will talk and talk and talk and talk until we exhaust all the talks. And then we are prepared to come again tomorrow to continue the talks. They have decided that they are going to provoke us, like I said. So every option we put out there, they're not prepared to do it. On Friday, we said to them, look, since we can't agree on the time frame, I should say before I go there, that one, the trust has been broken. We don't trust anything we hear coming from the Ministry of Education, because we called the strike off. In the first instance, we went there to speak with the Ministry of Education in good faith. We had two teams. One team being led on a Thursday by the chief negotiator, then the chief education officer. We questioned the absence of the PS, because we know in any negotiation, any talks about finances, the money person must be there. And we were told that by the chief education officer, that he was the chief negotiator and that his team, they were competent to answer all questions and to deal with the issue. We sat there, Mr. Duncan, and we, after there were some hiccups, eventually we were able to sit. We itemized every clause in that proposal, which will be first, which will be second, which is going to be third, and we listed them until we got, I think, to about 25 or 26. The first proposal, or the first order of priority for the Ministry of Education, could you imagine what that was? I'm sure you wouldn't dare carry your mind there. Their first order of priority was the demotion of heads and deputies in low-performing schools. That was their first item of priority. So you understand where the ministry is operating from. And that would have been their first order, because they were sitting there every day looking at all of those head teachers and their deputies who were in the picket line. And their intention was to go after them, and then you find all kinds of technicalities to push in front of them as charges so that you could have them being demoted. That was their first order of priority. They did not say, look, since we would have lost so much time, we're going to have staff development sessions being planned or anything like that. Their first order of priority was the demotion of heads and deputies in low-performing schools. Now, the schools could only perform low because the chief education officer know himself. You see, they get upset with me when I have to speak the truth, but I have to say it anyhow. He is low himself, and the schools could only perform low when you and your officers are not doing what they're supposed to do. If you give proper guidance, then our schools are going to perform well. Our administrators will do what they're supposed to do. Of course, you're going to have some slips and some slides every now and again, but it's not going to be anything major. So we went there in good faith. You know what happened? The talks break down. As a matter of fact, the chief education officer was even summoned to the chambers of the judge. And that is because he, with his big bad bully self, decided that he was Lord and God unto himself and he was going to disobey the order of the court. But all of that, we threw all of that aside and we returned to the table. But this time, when we returned to the table, after calling our members out for a second time, we decided that this time around, we're not going to be played. We will not take anything for granted and we will not buy the sweet words that come from the mouths of the officials from the Ministry of Education. So we've set a standard. We've said, look, in order for our teachers to return to school, there must be some form of surety. And our form of surety is a 20% interim payoff. And we're giving you 1 week to do that. That threw them way up on the roof because they did not expect to have that coming. And so we saw the press conferences one after the other. And then you saw the Attorney General and you're seeing everybody pumping out of their lucky seats now. But they're not pumping out when the teachers are crying out. But when the teachers union put the red card out there, everybody getting upset and pumping out. Well, I want to say to them, we have a responsibility to our members. And we are not going to look left nor right. We are going to hold on to the mandate that we have coming from our members and what we believe is right. I know they are throwing out there the document on of the settling of disputes. I know they're throwing that document out there, which speaks to before you can talk, the status quo must be returned to normalcy and the strike must be called off. And that's their trump card. We must call the strike off. Regardless of what, we must call the strike off. Well, let me let them know. The strike is not going to be called off unless you sign to paying that 20% interim payment. And I can tell you, while we're saying 20%, if the ministry again, if the government was interested in teachers' welfare, they would sit with us to say, man, look, we can't pay 20. What about a 10? What about a 12? What about something? But they are making no effort to do that. Yesterday, we sat there and we gave the Ministry of Education another 3 options. We said, look, and I know they're going to tell me about confidentiality and all kind of thing, but you don't have any confidentiality in yourselves. You are not credible, so don't tell us about confidentiality. We threw out 3 options again yesterday because we recognized we were going in circles. We even asked the chief labor officer yesterday, like we did a day before, to step out and let us talk between ourselves. And we started talking and we said, well, look, we have some other options. What do you think about this? So we threw it out at them and we said, 1, we're looking at the 20% interim payment. We are maintaining that. Secondly, we said, look, we'll need to have a 10% on what is going to come for 2024, since you're telling us about 2024. The third one we said is, look, we are going to take 2 years from our proposal and we are going to give you 2 years from your proposal. So we're looking at 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025. Let's talk around that. By the time we gave that to them, they did not even spend a minute or 5 seconds, let me put it that way, to congregate amongst themselves to say, well, I think we could consider that. No. Right off the bat, we heard, no, the ministry is not going to look at this. We are holding on to 2024 and onwards. Now, you tell me if these are persons or this is a partner who's really serious about teachers' interests, who's really serious about the welfare of our children, they just don't care. Because I can remember one of their colleagues said in Parliament that they're bringing a whole lot of handcuffs one of their colleagues said that he's out of parliament now. He said that they're buying they're buying lots and lots of handcuffs. So they already have in their minds what they're planning to do to people's children, because this here, you see, they don't understand the seriousness of this whole issue. This here is going to affect 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 generations of our children. That's the kind of rippling effect it will have. And I'm hoping that parents are taking note.
Yeah.
Parents are taking note. We already had COVID that affected and had a shortfall on every single sector, education being the one most seriously affected. And this here, I can term it as another COVID, but the ministry just doesn't care. Just the same way they were operating with the COVID-19, it's the same way they're operating now. And again, all they're doing is aggravating our teachers. Because for the minister to sit at a press conference to say that teachers did not work during COVID, she got to be a mad woman. And she seemed to be suffering from something, because she is on record as thanking our teachers for their services during the COVID period. She said that when the union was telling the teachers not to go to work, the teachers were ducking and going to work. The teachers were having the children even in their homes.
And we saw teachers in the streets with what do they call them?
Teachers were in the streets
Material.
with blackboards.
Yeah.
They had blackboards where they were going to write the work. Well, the boards were painted black, but they're chalkboards. We had teachers distributing
What do they call
worksheets.
Yeah, worksheets.
The schools had their baskets and boxes set up there for parents to come and drop their worksheets in those boxes. Teachers were marking them, going out there again to distribute more worksheets. Teachers were out there all the time. As a matter of fact, we saw a number of teachers in the Sophia area walking there, going and deliver those worksheets. And for the minister to say that, then she is being very, very ungrateful. Let me say that. I can further say teachers contracted COVID during that period. Teachers died during that period while they were conducting duties. And I figure again, maybe things cloud people's minds sometimes, and sometimes conveniently, and that's what's happening to the minister at this time.
General Secretary, what is the way forward given this impasse that we're having now? What do members of the public take away from it? What can they look
Well,
forward?
what I can tell you is that the teachers are going to continue with the strike action. And you've noticed that because we care for our teachers, while the Ministry of Education was expecting to have our teachers out there every day for the week, no, our teachers are not going to be out there every day for the week. The union has planned several programs for our teachers where we are going to have developmental sessions, we are going to have spiritual upliftment sessions, and I hope that doesn't go down as being obia, like the minister said, we doing obia now kind of thing. Spiritual uplifting sessions where we have inclusive all the religious groups, or at least the 3 main religious groups we're having there being featured. We're going to have our days when we're going to be in the streets, but the days when our teachers are not going to be there, we have programs that are planned there to engage them. And even while we're doing that, some of our teachers who are not attending schools, they are still checking on what is happening with their learners. They're sending stuff on WhatsApp to them. So our teachers, even while they are obeying the call of the union, they are still trying to ensure that there's some sort of balance between the absence of the teacher in the classroom and making sure that work is being done with their children. I want to further say that our teachers, they are yearning to return to the classroom, but they're not prepared to return to the classroom with beer talks, because they have already envisioned that all the ministry will do is, after they would have returned to schools, they will engage us in one meeting or a second meeting, and they will decide, well, we can't give you this, we can't give you that, and that will be the end of the process. And they will drag us out until, you know when? early December, and then you'll have a big announcement of an imposition the salary increase.
Well,
Because the president has pronounced on this. He told us about the 2027 welfare
2030.
package, and then after about maybe a month or so, or less than a month, it moved to 2030. So I don't know how you're talking about this welfare package. What are you calling 2024 to 2030? What do you call that space in between there? What do you call it? Maybe it's a best package. I don't
Interact
know.
them. That being said, on being dragged out, finally, how is the union viewing the move by the ministry to suspend the examinations for the rest of the term? Is this a signal to the union that they're going to go, they're in for the long haul to drag you into summer, and then you're in September with the same issue?
Well, yes, we have looked at that. And while we're looking at that, I'm hoping that parents are looking at that too, because they're talking about continuous assessment. If the teachers are not at work, who conducting the continuous assessment? So you see, all the nice glitters that they're putting on out there, it has absolutely nothing behind it. A whole lot of false talks. It's like wolf in sheep's clothing, where fancy talks, continuous assessment, no examination, continuous assessment. The same people who were going to be conducting the examinations, they're the same ones who got to conduct the continuous assessment. So when are you going to have the continuous assessment if teachers are not in school? So it right away, you're noticing we are reverting to the No Child Left Behind. In a diplomatic, sly way, we are reverting to the No Child Left Behind. And the parents should be clamoring on the government to ensure that they talk to the teachers union and that they are willing and ready to offer teachers the kind of compensation that we need. Yes, they should be ready to do that. Parents should be clamoring on them. The continuous assessment that they're talking about, that will not be able to accurately say to us that a child is ready to go here or to go there. We know in continuous assessment, when you're doing continuous assessment, who's doing it for you? Continuous assessment are projects that you do. They give you a project and you're at home, mommy help you, big sister help you, big brother help you. In some instances, the child or the learner plays little or no role in doing that continuous assessment, especially when it's going to be done at home. Continuous assessment also entails testing, but who testing you? Where are the teachers to test you? Are you going to say to us that in some schools where we have 3 teachers and 10 learners that they're going to do continuous assessment with them? I can say to you, starting from yesterday and continuing today, what are the numbers that we are having? Let me tell you what is happening. The ministry is behaving as if they don't understand what is happening. At Yarrowcabra Secondary School, the students' population is 788. How many students are present today? 0. Staff population of 48. How many staff members present today? 6. So how the continuous assessment doing? Who are you doing it with? BV Secondary. Student enrollment, 398. Number present today, 19. Staff enrollment, 34. Number present today, 11. Diamond Secondary, 652. 3 present. 50 staff, 3 present. And I can go on and on and on in regions 4, regions 3, region 6 to give you what the numbers are. So the Ministry of Education, all they're doing right now is fooling themselves, because this strike we are having here, 90% support from our members. And the parents are supporting too, because parents are not going to send their children to school if teachers are not in school. So I don't know this thing about this continuous assessment. I don't know what the author, the man who signed this thing, I don't know what we really doing there. And who is trying to fool? Absolutely not the teachers, and it can't be the parents. And I want to say to you, just in closing, that we heard the big talks about the the good faith talks. But you know what? We simply said to the Ministry of Education, in good faith, the judge has already pronounced on it. In good faith, could you return or reinstate the deduction of the Jews? Not even that they weren't prepared to do. So they're waiting on the written judgment. The written judgment. Now that they have the written judgment, I am just hoping that the Ministry of Education would start acting. They're going to start acting in good faith. The Minister of Education would understand, and she would be reminded that if it weren't for a teacher, she would not have been where she is today. The PS would be reminded that if it weren't for good teachers, you would not be where you are today. The chief education officer would remember two things. One, if it weren't for good teachers, you would not be where you are today. And secondly, you should remember that just the other day, you were a teacher. Just the other day, you received benefits from being a financial member of the GTU. You received your debunching benefits. And so, Mr. CEO, I'm hoping that you would be able to speak with your colleagues. The minister would be able to convince her colleagues and to let them know that the teachers are important to this country. Our children are even more important to this country. The latest.
Yep. Thank you so much. That was the General Secretary of the Ghana Teachers Union, Policia, walking us through what has been happening in the conciliatory talks between the government, the chief labor officer, the government and the Ministry of Education, the chief labor officer, and the Ghana Teachers Union. Ministry sharing out Spanish dictionaries. In the meantime, sharing out Spanish dictionaries. They're telling us as well internationally that the funerals, plural, of President Ibrahim Morsi, former president of Iran, who died in a horrific helicopter crash, among others, has begun in Iran. Thoughts and prayers for the people of Iran tonight. And finally, folks, in some regional news, nothing is sacred anymore. Men posing as passengers killed a taxi driver in Kingston, Jamaica. Some of the things we're tracking at the hour, folks. That being said, good folks, thanks for staying with us into the overtime. That's our time, good folks. And that's our program. Thanks to each and every one of you for being here with us this evening. Made the program what it was. Thank you, Andre Prasad. Is it let me get it right. Anita Atkins is here. Yeah, Andre Prasad, Marcia Agard, Anita Atkins, Tommy Gibbs, Rosetta Barton, Velma James is still with us. Gary Greenwich, of course, is here with us. Dan Abrams and Glenford Gordon. Good evening, Donna and Lyndon and Ingrid and Iban and all the other folks joining us this evening. That's our time, good folks. We're going to see you guys on the next broadcast. We're going to see you guys on the next one. Pace and power, folks. Pace. Ronaldo, Raquel, and Rastuman. Good to have all of you on the live. Iban and Siobhan. Good to have you. Donna Mill and Lyndon Gill. Edward Brooms, Bantu King. Good to have you back, Chief. Good to have you back. Pace and power. Stay safe, folks.